Plugging into a meal planning system easily saves me like 5 to 10 hours per week of mental energy that I'm limited as it is, right? I call this the energy ROI of removing food decisions. Now, constant thought, right? When I planned meals at scales back in the military, I cooked for a long time in the US Coast Guard. It still applies to regular life now, and it'll apply to you as well. Recently, for example, I spent an entire Sunday afternoon with my family. We threw on snowshoes, hung out with our dogs in the snow. It was a ton of fun. Ton of snow up in New York recently. It might not sound like anything special or out of the ordinary, but it is. So I did all this with my family, but without those Sunday scaries. Now, years ago, Sundays looked super different, right? I'd spend the day, meal prepping, call it 21 meals, right? 7 days, 3 meals. I went crazy, chicken, broccoli, rice, um, all those standard meal prep you'll see online, right? I'd focus on laundry all day, right? Trivial errands, whatever it may be. But most importantly, or most dreadingly, I'd just be anxious the entire day, wondering what Monday had in store with me, right? Now, that meant any given Sunday night, I was just tanked already. No energy, completely zapped, right? The worst part is Monday hadn't even started yet. But more recently, now my Sundays look way more different, right? I'll sit down 10 minutes, do my meal planning routine, get stuff in line, right? Now, when I do this, it means I have my week of meals planned before I enjoy the rest of my Sunday. This is an important piece of the puzzle here. Now, it is blissful, and I'm going to explain why. Now, the hidden cost of rushing food decisions in this scenario right here, we're rushing through the decisions. We're just trying to get it knocked out, try to get it done, stick it in the fridge or the freezer for the week. That's not the way to do it. Now, we all probably know the quote. We've heard this before, right? Having no plan is planning to fail. I don't know who said that. Probably somebody much smarter than me. But anyways, we all know it, right? But nobody actually does shit with it. I'm going to kind of teach you how to do something with that, right? So, especially with what I like to call the small things in life that don't matter, but actually really impact your entire week and just can throw it off into a spiral, right? Now, several things in life derail our good intentions, right? It could be family obligations. It could be work overtime, right? It could be social events, injury, whatever it may be. There's a ton of stuff, right? But unfortunately, that's just part of life. Now, the number one thing that gets pushed aside, food decisions, almost every single time, right? Now, you tell yourself false promises, sweet nothings, right? I do the same thing quite often with myself. I tell myself I'll grab something fast from the store, on the way back. I'll hit the grocery store real quick. I'll grab a Chipotle burrito or whatever else is fast in your area. Or this one really gets me. I have the literal pizza tattooed on my butt. Ad hoc delivery food, greasy Italian food. The day's going wrong. You have no energy at the end of a workday. It's easy to press a button on DoorDash, right? Or Uber Eats or whatever you use. And yeah, we could do any of this, but we really shouldn't. I think we all know that. But it's kind of like when there's a solar eclipse. You want to stare into it. You shouldn't. It's bright. It'll hurt your eyes. Now think about how you tackle any big decision in life. Could be moving for a job, buying a house, buying a car. Could be as simple as painting your bathroom or picking a new cushion, whatever it is. But you always think through every single big decision in life, right? You sit down, you think about it. Now, you got to apply the same concept to planning your meals for the week because when you rush the food decisions and don't plan, you're going to have that decreased energy, lack of focus and clarity. You're going to blow your food budget, something that really can creep up on you, especially when you're hitting that DoorDash button. You're going to miss your workouts in the morning because you're going to sleep awful at night. You're going to wake up sapped with zero energy. You're probably going to eat much unhealthier, whatever version of that is for you, than you plan to. You're going to feel kind of crappy about yourself. Now, it's not discipline that is actually the issue, right? We're not trying to get through with white knuckled motivation here. Now, decision fatigue, you're going to hear this term a lot. It's got zero strategy. So let me rephrase this. Decision fatigue with zero strategy is the problem. Now, lock that in. I'm going to say it one more time. Decision fatigue with zero strategy, that's the actual problem. Now, what happens when the meals are planned? Absolute bliss. It's magical, right? It's like a fairy tale land. Not really, but kind of. Like I feel almost superhuman and unlock the new levels of my life when I have every meal planned and I actually follow it. Even if I miss one or two, it's easy to plug back in with the staple meals, which I'll get to in another video probably. But regardless, so these weeks, they turn into months, right? They turn into a year, multiple years, into a decade, much faster than you think, right? It all compounds like interest. Now, I'm talking energy, focus, less friction, less decisions after 100 decisions during the day, the workday. If you're a busy parent, whatever it may be, you're a busy person, right? Now, it all comes down to making a plan for the week and actually plugging your meals into the days. So I put together, this is kind of a crude outline here, but this is really what you're looking to do, right? And I'm going to walk you through this in detail, but essentially we're going to make our weekly plan. We're going to come up with breakfast, lunch, dinner. If you want to add snacks in, that's fine too. You're going to write them out. You're going to write the recipes out here. Now the big piece of the puzzle, the actual meal plan, right? Monday through Friday. If you want to do weekends, that's fine too. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Now to go through this, and I try my best every Sunday morning to build my meal planning operating system just like this. Excuse me. This was last week, right? I do it in a simple notepad. I'm working on developing a V1 version of this for y'all. But before that, so keep in mind, I'm doing this 10, 15 minutes tops flat since I've done this quite often at scale. Back when I cooked in the military, it's kind of, it just goes quick for me. So remember though, the same concepts apply to using it as a normal person, right? In a busy house with a busy week, the same concept as back when I was cooking for a couple hundred people on my ship right above me back in the day. Same concepts apply. Now, each week I've got a plan. I write it down. I know I can look at it to keep me on track, almost like a little hidden coach in my notepad, right? So without this, I'm spending easily 30 minutes cooking a hot breakfast each morning, 20 minutes maybe, but usually like 30 realistically after cleanup and everything. I'm rushing through my midday meetings so I can figure out lunch, right? Hopping off a Zoom, eating a protein bar in between. And I'm absolutely dreading that renowned question, what's for dinner? We all have. That conversation at like 6:47 p.m. or whenever it is for you, that conversation sucks. And that's easy to hit that DoorDash button. We don't want to do that ad hoc at least. So collectively, when I follow this plan, I'm doing my notepad. It saves me easily 5 to 10 hours a week of mental energy, minimum. Now, this is simply by spending 10 minutes Sunday morning writing in my little notepad. So keep in mind, again, I've been doing this concept for years at a very high level. So set the expectations a little lower for yourself at first, right? It might take you 10 minutes if you're a pro. It might take you 30 minutes, an hour, 90 minutes, but who cares if it's going to save you 5 to 10 hours per week? That's a ton. The numbers just work, right? So the fun part here is the actual building blocks of your meal planning OS. So I'm big on the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Now, I include 2 default recipes per breakfast, lunch, and dinner in each of my newsletter each week to make it easy. So you don't have to scroll the internet hunting down the perfect recipe, right? I try to find recipes that are relatively healthy and easy for meal prepping or weeknight meals. Now, it's pain in the butt, right? Scrolling that internet. So that makes it a little easier for you. But this week, so we're going to use a very simple framework here to just get you started, get the momentum flowing here. Step one, it's going to be planning your week. Now, you're going to write down the days of the week, slot in any obligations that matter. I'll show you my example up here. Now, Thursday, I was talking to Fidelity, one of my banks, right? Friday, my sister's dog's birthday. That Sunday was the Super Bowl. Those were our weekly plans. Nothing too in depth, just the high level, what could get in the way of a mealtime. Friday night we cooked our dog some little pieces of steak and stuff like that. Sunday we made some wings and that kind of thing, So put down whatever it may be. If you have to commute to the office, add that in. If you have to take your kids to soccer practice, that's an event that you have to plan around. Now, next step, we're going to choose our default. So 1 to 2 meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast, I almost always pick only one meal, make it really, really easy. Then we're going to plug them into our week, and we're going to repeat these meals as much as possible. Now, this step over here is what you'll see in here. I repeated oatmeal 5 times that week. I did chili 4 times and some other stuff throughout, right? You can figure out what works for you. Then you're going to build your grocery list next. Now, that means writing out ingredients, combining overlapped ingredients, and using my grocery list blueprint, it just makes it easier. It's free. It's linked below for you guys. But I took a lot of time to do this, and what it does is it just gives you the basic building blocks, how to save time, money, and food waste, which sucks. And that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? So it's a pretty good template. It's a downloadable form that I'll shoot you over. So next step 4, probably one of the most important pieces here, right? Scheduling the shopping and the cooking. So I typically shop once Sunday and I restock a Wednesday night when I do my sushi survivor night with my wife. It just makes things easy. Things don't spoil as much and it just works for our lifestyle. But whatever version of this works for you, do that. Now I cook a little bit Sunday, bare minimal though. The old version of myself Sunday would cook, hours and prep all 21 meals and hate my life by midweek, by Wednesday or Thursday. But now I just cook a little Sunday for a couple meals ahead, then a couple nights during the week, and that's it. So remember, base expectations on your skill level, right? Start small, like much smaller than you think. It's kind of like working out. If you work out too fast, too hard, you're not going to go back to the gym, right? You're going to quit, you're going to injure yourself, whatever it may be. Right now, focus on building those meal planning muscles, right? You're going to start with a meal or two a week, build up to more. And if you enjoyed this video, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and watch this one next. So I'm going to teach how to come up with your go-to breakfast meal by not relying on motivation, but leaning into a meal planning system that actually works. I'll link that up here.